I'm Meera Madhusudan Singh, and I'm the founder and CEO of Avan India. I'm from DLC's Global SCM Committee, Hyderabad chapter. I was brought up in the state of Sikkim, which is in the northeast of India, when it was still a kingdom. And I studied there, I did all my schooling there, and I, it was a mixed bag. My father was in the government services. He was a very big government official, and suddenly he passed away at the age of 48 when I was very young. So that is one lesson that has taught me that nothing is permanent. Everything keeps changing, and your life also keeps changing, and you must adapt to it as soon as you can. There's no point sitting and mauling and crying over things which cannot be changed. After that, I went to Delhi and I did my graduation from the Pusa Institute of Hotel Management in Delhi. And it was very interesting, a lot of hard work. It was a competitive exam that you had to sit to get into the institute, so we had very good batchmates. And then I went to the Oberoi School. The Oberoi School was one of the most difficult institutions to get through at that time in the country. It had a very difficult competitive exam, and I passed that and I got into the Oberoi School, which is a very rigorous training. And the whole concept of that school was to teach its trainees the eye for detail, an eye for detail, and standard operating procedures was the main bottom line of that program. And of course, very very hard work. And then I got transferred to Mumbai, and in Mumbai, I was in charge of all the 24 outlets at the Oberoi and the Oberoi Towers. So I had hundreds of people reporting to me right from the beginning, and it was very challenging, very tough. It was 20 hours of work literally every day, but that grounds you into a very solid human being who can work continuously, strenuously, because you can't have strain on your face and work in the service industry. You have to look good, you have to present yourself well, and you have to be happy. So all those were points that we were trained in. And I had also the training background of train the trainer and train our people continuously. So it was a continuous process of training. After spending about 4 5 years at the Oberoi, I decided that this kind of rigorous working schedules and not really using your creative side, because everything was standard operating procedures. I stumbled into the transport industry, that is TCI, and when I reached there and I started working there, I realized how totally different it was from the five-star industry. In fact, people started saying that आप 5 star से road star में कैसे आ गए. So that was a real challenge for me to be able to adapt myself and mold myself from a five-star industry to a typical transport industry in India, which was very hardcore. It was a hardcore transport, full truck loads, and very low tech. But in that industry, I saw a huge opportunity to transform that kind of an image. Basically, I think my expertise is image building and branding and marketing. And also, then I learned the whole rigmarole of how transportation is done. It was very interesting. I traveled the whole country. I met a lot of people, a lot of industrialists, and realized how important this industry was to the country. In fact, the growth of a country is depending on its supply chain management, its transportation, and its cargo industry. That's when I realized the importance of this industry and thought of building a brand out of it. And the unorganized transport sector then suddenly started taking on a picture of an organized, because the promoters, the founder of TCI, Mr. P.D. Agarwal, was actually the founder of the transport industry in this country. And he was a solid background of hard work and absolutely magnanimous attitude towards his employees. So it was like a big family working towards a goal. And he was so great in his thinking that he said that the competition must grow. And some of the employees who left the company were encouraged to become competitors to TCI. And that I thought was a very great learning experience, because he said, I'm not working to build my company. I'm working to build the transport industry in this country, and without competition and solid competition, a company cannot grow. The people become complacent. So we started branding TCI, and it was really a very good experience for me traveling the country. It was exciting. It was different from what I was doing, and then came the opportunity to work for Gati. Gati was at a very nascent stage, but it had all the goodness that was learned from TCI, all the good points, and also some of the things that had to be discarded, like bringing in tech. For the first time, technology was brought into express cargo, and then the huge question was how to bring this, how to brand build, how to bring in customer service. And under the leadership of Mr. Mahendra Agarwal, who was a graduate and a postgraduate from the from US Austin, Texas, he had a very broad way of thinking and would accept any new ideas. So that way, all the people who worked with him were able to bring out their creative side and create a very profitable organization from day one. And then the promise there was, for the first time in the express cargo industry in the country, there was a promise made that, on time, intact, or your money back, else your money back. That was very important at that time because nobody believed that something could be transported, a small package would be transported from, say, Chennai to Delhi in 2 days by road. And that was done, whole truck was just with one packet to deliver that promise. And the trucking industry was used to that pura truck. The whole truck has to be filled to right to the brim. Then only can the truck move. But in this case, trucks used to move empty from, say, Pune to Chennai, because you had only cargo one way. You didn't have the cargo on the return, but the truck would go empty. So a lot of, you have to think big. You can't think small. Okay, I'll make loss in this, so I can't do this. You have to think big when you're going to, looking forward to build a whole industry. The express cargo industry for the first time was being built in this country. And I remember the first customers that we had was Sony, Hitachi. And these people came from a background where there was tech. Japan was full of technology. India had none. So then the thought came that we must form an ERP only for the transportation and supply chain management and express cargo industry. So GEMS came about with the best in industry practices. We got the best IT provider at that time, and Gati Enterprise Management Systems was born. It took 2 years to build that system. That was the backbone of the whole industry. And because of that system, the business started multiplying, the customers, then Apple came, and all the top companies from around the world established themselves in India. And they also gave credit to Gati that they grew because Gati was the backbone. And the best practices of Gati were there, like also building a culture. It's very important to build a culture in an organization. And how do you build a culture? You don't read it in books and start building a culture. The culture has to be built from what you have learned from your background. And all the people who come from different backgrounds then come together and one culture is formed. You build not an organization, but an organism which has a mind of its own. You allow your people to have a mind of their own and grow with the organization as the organization grows. And I remember in the brand building, we had this great idea that we must do customer carnivals. And these carnivals were done in every city where Gati would launch its new business branches. So, like, say, if we went to Mumbai, we had a customer carnival in Mumbai, and the carnival was a real carnival, like great fun. We had, stand-up comedians, we had popcorn stalls, we had candy floors, and the customer could bring his whole family, and he was given two gifts. So one gift he could take back with him home. The other gift he had to Gati it. So there was a booking counter open there at the carnival where he would send that gift to one of his customers. And that's how the customer base started being built. We had two customers, one already existing customer and one new customer who was built through that system. So there were very many interesting stories of how Gati was branded, and for the first time a company in the logistics sector was actually going on television, and we made a film with, I remember, a company called Nexus. That time, that was one of the top advertising agencies, and we also won the Cannes Award for that ad from France. India was changing, the industry was changing. People were demanding a full supply chain management system, not just pick up of the cargo and delivering of the cargo. Then the learning from TCI and Gati came into an idea which is called Avan India. Avan India, I'm the founder of that company, and this was for excess baggage. I remember I was traveling from Calcutta to Hyderabad, and I had about 8 kgs or 10 kgs of excess baggage. My ticket hardly cost me some 2,000 rupees, and I landed up paying some 7 8,000 rupees as excess baggage. And I said, this can't be happening, because it can't happen. We are at Gati at that time, we were taking stuff at 2 rupees, 3 rupees a kg, and here we were paying 500 rupees a kg to the airline for the first time. So that's when the idea came to me that we must do something and help the customers, the travelers, to have a luxury of excess baggage at an affordable cost. So that kind of idea really took off. I remember I put a post on LinkedIn, it went viral, CNN picked it up. It became the story of LinkedIn for the fortnight. And I think I had 1 million views of that post. That's when I got convinced that this idea is workable. It's going to work. And then we started the idea of Avan Access. We started with the concept of opening airport kiosks. And today I have a mandate from all airport operators in this country, which is basically Adani, GMR, Airport Authority of India, to open kiosks all over the country. Every airport will have an excess baggage kiosk by the end of the year. Now, the main thing is in this idea is also the airport kiosk is a support, but the main idea here is that you can sit in the luxury of your house, plan your trip 2 days or 3 days before, and send your excess bag. You can take 20 kgs, you can take 30 kgs from your home, call the Avan guy. He will come and pick up your bag, take it to Delhi if you're sitting in Hyderabad, and in 2 days it will be delivered to your address in Delhi at a cost of less than 50 rupees a kg, because you're sending it by surface. But if you can't plan so much in advance, you want to do 1 day ahead, then it'll be sent by air cargo, which is still 100 rupees a kg, will be delivered next day. So somebody sitting in a place like Gangtok, Shimla, Nainital can think of sending the excess baggage to places like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta. So this was the advantage, and it has really been appreciated. We also got the Best Startup Award from ET Now, and Wow Award, that is, an international award for startups. So we've got a lot of awards, we've got a lot of recognition, a lot of people are writing about us. And now is the phase to start the brand building. So brand building is, I think, the most important part of any business. You can start a business, but if you don't have the brand, if you don't have the culture to support the brand, if you don't have the people who believe in the brand, then the brand will never go anywhere. And supply chain management is, I think, the sunrise industry today. The whole managing the whole supply chain from in-city pickup delivery to intercity pickup delivery, everything has to be worked out right from the beginning. Your customer service has to be in place. So that's how the organization is built. And that's how Avan has to be built and taken to the next stage. Now the next stage is going international. Somebody's coming from New York with 40 kgs of excess baggage. He lands in Delhi, but he wants to go to Indore. So in that case, his baggage, his excess baggage, can be booked on the in the Delhi airport kiosk. The 20, 30 kgs he has excess from Delhi to Indore, and it will reach him the next day. And he doesn't have to book it on the next flight, which will cost him 500 rupees extra for every kg. So this is the concept, and I think this concept can be driven, and it can become an international, because internationally also there is no excess baggage business anywhere in the world. I've researched that, and now we have somebody in America who wants to tie up with us and expand this throughout Europe and America. So this is the kind of growth that we are looking at. So it's a new idea, it's an innovative idea, it's a startup, but a startup from a company's background, which is totally ingrained and has a very big support and learning from from TCI, from Gati, and from the pioneers and leaders in the express cargo and transportation industry in the country. To conclude, I would also like to say that each of us should keep our Indianness to ourselves. We should not try to ape the West in everything that they do. And in being Indian, your family also has to be proud of you and your company where you work in. So, one of the things that we did in Gati was to build our social responsibility during any calamity like floods. Now that the floods are there in Assam, or there would be floods in Orissa or an earthquake in Gujarat, the whole organization will come together because we were experts in supply chain management. We would have our trucks, we'll have our people, we'll get food, and actually, hot cooked food would be served by our top management who would be part of this and take care of the social responsibility of the company. And in this, the volunteers, we were shocked at all the kind of volunteers that would go. Even I went once to one of the flood areas in the northeast, and it would be terrible situations. It'll be, you can see the condition, but you work towards, and the satisfaction you feel out of cooking hot food and giving to people who are actually literally starving. And the kind, we did a social media also on that. That is not so much for social media, that is more for your own growth, your more understanding what you can do, what your organization can do for your country. In the same line, I also started a charity. It's called Affordable Art with a Heart. Affordable Art with a Heart is a charity which basically takes care of orphan children. We do art shows in Hyderabad. This is the third season is coming up now, and all the proceeds, all the profits that is there from the selling of paintings, which are basically by children who are handicapped or differently able children. And we support three charities. One is Isha Vidya for poor children around the Isha Ashram. Another is an orphanage in Sikkim. It's called Lepcha Cottage. And then there is Ashray Akruti, children with hearing and speaking disabilities, where the money is raised and given to them. The whole organization comes together, works towards this. It's a huge. All the socialites of Hyderabad have taken to this because they know it's charity. Whatever they buy, 40% of that will go to the artist, the rest will go to charity. So it is very important for an organization to be part of the the whole social and part of the country where you help the country. It's not only the government's responsibility to do for your country, to do for your people, to do for people who need help. And as an organization, if you can do that, not just as a a social responsibility, but you do it with your heart. So it brings about a culture in the organization. People are proud of you, of themselves, for working in your company, and that is something which every organization that is trying to grow, become big, or is already big, must do. That is your social responsibility towards your country. I would like to thank DLC for giving me this opportunity to talk about my experience from a five-star industry to the supply chain management industry in our country. Thank you.